Yeah, welcome again from me. I'm Reithofer from BU Research Austria. I'm scientific clerk and project manager, and at home I'm a small-scale farmer as well. So I try to connect the scientific and the practical side in our work. The Carbon Farming Central Europe Interreg project started this year, so I cannot present any results yet. I can just give a small view in the near future. It's okay. Yeah, the subtitle is Supporting the Energy Transition to a Climate Neutral Central Europe. That's a high goal, a high aim. How do we try to achieve it? So first I will present our partners. Several Danube countries within the group. The Central Europe group starts in Poland, goes from with the Institute of Soil and Science and for Plant Cultivation, State Research Institute. Then we have a Czech partner, the Agricultural Research Limited Stropsko. Our Slovakian partner is in charge of the marketing and the communication of the project. It's the No Gravity Association. The Ökoberatungsgesellschaft, that's a mistake. It isn't located in Styria, it's located in Bavaria. So we have a German partner as well. Then we have two partners in Italy. One of them is the University of Bologna, which is in charge of carbon sequestration modeling. That means that's a rather big part of the project, which I will describe later. Then we have our lead partner in Slovenia and Croatian and Hungarian partners as well. A lot of text. We want to contribute and motivate farmers in the first step to execute actions, to execute so-called carbon farming techniques on their own farms. These are actions that should promote carbon storage on their own soil. Then the second and another, in my opinion, even heavier part is to establish carbon farming models. That means farmers get subsidies for these actions. They get these actions financed. This could be by either legal authorities or by private companies. Or just to give a very bottom line example, if a farmer claims to store carbon in the farm by, let's say, by the cultivation of cover crops or by the establishment of hedges, which is a very prominent example today, and it gets, the effect is measured and gets seriously measured, then the farmer could argue and put a plate on his sales store where it says, I work carbon efficient, or let's say carbon sequestration. I add humus to my soil, to make it clear. And if customers will pay a high price for it, or if some companies will say, okay, we want to support it, then he has a benefit, and you can speak of a carbon farming model on a very small scale. Yeah, of course, the main goal is to reduce greenhouse gases in the atmosphere by putting, and that's the important thing, by storing carbon in the soil. Because we have several challenges. I borrowed this slide from our lead partner, which is in charge of the carbon farming working package. He identified as main challenges that the farmers don't know how to use carbon farming techniques. I only agree partially. I mean, in the different countries of Central Europe, the the application of these techniques, the execution of these techniques is known to a different standard. I heard of some member countries where farmers usually plow until half a meter deep in the soil. So that's unthinkable in Austria and in some other countries, but it's still in use in this area. So I think it's a challenge that we communicate the knowledge of carbon farming techniques to farmers as well. Another challenge is a lack of knowledge of practical application of carbon farming business models. Yeah, that's what I tried to explain earlier. There are some companies, and it's kind of a trend that that carbon farming is getting a business model in agriculture as well. There are several problems with it. Even scientific challenges to face, because carbon sequestration, so the long-term storage of carbon isn't that easy to measure. We have limited methods. We can just analyze soil of certain fractions of carbon, but the turnover rate of these carbon compounds is rather hard and expensive to measure. I mean, there are some recent studies. There are also strong differences between different soil types. So in sandy soils, carbon turnover rates are much narrower. Carbon is stored much shorter than in loamy, heavy soils, for example. So we have a lack of knowledge for business models, a lack of knowledge at some farms. But there are also some scientific limits that we have to face in this project as well. Yeah, there is still no standardized monitoring model of carbon sequestration in Central Europe, or even in Austria, or even in any country participating in this project. Yeah, but there's a high potential for carbon sequestration in the soil. I think we can agree on that. But no plans to mainstream it. There are three main work packages in this project. The first is a practical testing of carbon farming techniques. And the very first was just to identify what actually are carbon farming techniques. I will just give you a few examples. Hedges are a very effective carbon farming technique, so the implementation of hedges will be promoted strongly in this project again. Others are the cultivation of cover crops, underseeding into main crops, the use of organic fertilizers instead of mineral fertilizers. Liming effects will be tested at this project as well, and reduced tillage is also one of the big carbon farming techniques that we try to communicate. Yeah, the second work package, which just starts, is the testing for carbon farming business models. And in the third year, so in the last year of this project, will be the mainstreaming of carbon farming techniques and business models. But I think it's still quite a way there. Yeah, we will create and establish training material for every country in the spoken language there, of course. There we will describe these carbon farming techniques, as well as best practice examples of every country. And we also host a co-creation workshop with farmers in every country every year to just to discuss these techniques with the practical side as well. Yeah, so then we will have some training material. Yeah, that's just a short overview about our field trials that we do this year and next year in Austria. There we have the relocation of harvest residues, mainly in organic farms. Alfalfa, clover grass can be cutted and relocated to raw crops, for example maize or potatoes, to protect the soil there without any negative effects on the clover growth field. The diversification of crop rotation is also a carbon farming technique, so we try to promote the addition of new crops to crop rotations of the farmers, because different root systems has also several benefits in the soil effects. Yes, and we'll also plan to make a strip till field trial next year, which is also a quite well-tested mechanical method to improve certain parameters for carbon sequestration. I mean, by talking about carbon sequestration, of course in soil there are many effects that interact, which could lead to carbon sequestration, which could be, I think, an hour of presentation just to give an overview. So I will just focus on our co-creation workshop, which takes part next week in the wine quarter, and thank you to the network that promotes our workshop as well. There we try to motivate farmers to enlarge the crop rotation by showing different root systems at a field trial in Heusbrunn. So if anyone has time, you're also warmly invited. And I'm looking forward to present some other results if we have one. Yes, if we have one. Thank you.